what is, I think, one of the most unique and most remarkable systems that any municipality might be able to boast. And I can tell you that my own park system master plan from 2014 is tabbed, it is highlighted, it is dog-eared, and it's outdated. The fact is, our city has actually grown beyond the boundaries of that park system master plan. And it really is time to update it. If you think about your own lives back in 2014, a lot has changed. Even for myself, I had only been with the city for 2 years, and now it's been 13. So it's definitely an opportunity to check back in with our public and understand, where we're at with our system, what we need to be focusing on, and where we can best direct our activities. So thank you so much for joining tonight, and thanks to Kimberly Horn for the wonderful work that you're doing. Thanks to all the staff members who were here with us for this virtual meeting. And I'm looking forward to not only the thoughtful ideas that you provide, but moving forward with this master plan process. Thanks so much.
Thanks, Britt. So we'll just quickly do some introductions here. As Britt said, I'm from Kimberly Horn. My name is Jeremy Powell. I'm a landscape architect and a project manager on this project. Kimberly Horn is a third-party consulting firm that is assisting the city in creating this 2026 system master plan. On the call with me today, I have a couple partners, Nick Kuhn and Haley Bartlett. Both are landscape architects, as well as both being park system master planners. And some of our consultants on the team that are not on the call today are Pros Consulting and ETC Institute. Before we advance the slide, I just want to really go over the City Parks Department's vision and mission. So the vision is building community and preserving our legacy to making Colorado Springs the finest place to live and visit. I think we have a great start, but we're always striving for better, right? And the mission, the Parks, Recreation, and Cultural Services Department is the steward of a diverse park system that enriches the community through healthy, active opportunities that engage and inspire. So with that said, what is the purpose of this? Well, in general, the purpose of a park system master plan is to provide a comprehensive long-term roadmap, if you will, for how a city or community will develop, manage, maintain, and invest in its parks, open spaces, trails, and recreational facilities over a longer period of time. And it really is a foundational document that aligns the city's park system with community needs, environmental goals, and most importantly, available resources. Now, here in the Springs, our purpose is really three-part. Number one, identify recommendations to assist the city in meeting existing and future park, recreation, trail, and open space needs. Number two is inform the decision-making for the next 10 to 15 years through public input and thorough data analysis. And finally, number three is to ensure equitable access to parks for everyone in Colorado Springs.
I'd like to jump in, and as we just get this up and going, just go over a few little instructions here, and to make this as meaningful and as exhilarating of a meeting as possible, we did want to highlight the format of this meeting. There's a couple things just up front. This is our virtual public session, and so what we're going to do is communications is going to be by chat, audio, and video. This is actually being recorded, and this is through a documentation purpose only. We will pause a few times in here to ask a few interactive questions and polls through this. So we'll get to those in just a moment, actually. We will have a time for Q&A at the end. We ask that you add your questions or comments into the chat for this, and we will provide how to do that in just a second. And we may call upon you to unmute yourself for clarification if needed. Now, when I mentioned we're currently asking everybody to be on mute while we do the presentation part, and you can make sure in the on your screen the mute or the microphone button should have a red X through it, and make sure yourself is muted. Everybody came in muted, and we ask that you remain through this period through the presentation. For just lack of connectivity issues, you can also turn your videos off Jeremy and I have our videos on through the presentation time, but certainly you can save the bandwidth and turn videos off. And lastly, that chat element. You'll look for those little speaking icons, and that opens the chat window. We will be monitoring those as they come on in terms of questions and comments. And again, that will be part of the process that is documented here. Now, as we talk about these questions, we will have that at the end of the presentation. We will keep this brief as possible. We want to give some guidance on a few items here for the Park System Master Plan. We will prioritize questions with the limited time we have this evening to those about the Park System Master Plan. We understand that there are lots of ideas that you all may have and questions. There are a couple other sources that you can add those in addition to the comment box here this evening. So if you have a general issue or complaint or concern, you can go to COSI, and the link is here. You can scan in the blue box there the QR code that will take you to the Go Colorado Springs portal where you can add in that information. On the green box on the right side there is another aspect, and this is our interactive online map. And for those that have been able to dive into our online survey, you might have already experienced this online mapping tool. If not, you can scan that QR code on the right side in the green box, and that allows you to go on and add in any other comments in regards to the park system at large. So any parks, trails, open spaces, programs, any of those specific ideas that you would like to share, you can add that on to that interactive map, and that'd be great. And again, we'll prioritize those questions in regards to the park system master plan here this evening. So the last few items is, as I mentioned, we'll have some poll questions here. And so we want to talk about how to read those questions. We'll have about 5 questions in all. We will have those come up individually on the screen. You can choose to participate in any that you would like. You are not required to. We would love for everybody to provide the input, though, as you would like through this. But we will begin with a test question for those that might not have experienced those online polls before through this kind of format. So what will happen is you will have a box that pops up on your screen that looks like the image to the left right now. And there will be a question that's shown highlighted generally where the yellow circle is now. That will be the question that you'll read. And then just below that question will be the responses that you can select from. And all the questions that we have tonight will be single choice responses. So if you read that and you are quick to make a decision, but then want to change your mind, you can change your choice between those. And then once you have your choice selected, you can hit the submit button in the bottom right corner of that window. And once you hit submit, that will then lock that in. And when we have those come in, we will be watching those results. We'll see as those responses are coming on board. And we will show the results once we have most of the participants here have responded. And so the window will change and you will see those represented again on the screen. It will show the question again, and then it will show a bar chart for the different responses. The results tonight certainly are reflective of those that are participating here tonight. And the responses do not necessarily represent a direct action for the department or the city or the planning team, but great input from you all. And again, we want to take that valuable information, and it will be documented as part of this public meeting. So a few house kind of questions there just up front, but let's go ahead while we're here and do our first couple questions. So we're going to do our test question here. I'm going to go ahead and launch the question platform. And I'm going to have this actually go ahead and I see now it's popping in the first questions. You will see here yes or no on those. And it is going to ask for those questions. Have you ever participated in a virtual meeting before? Yes or no? And you can jump in there, as well as the range that describes your age, question number 2. So you can provide those, and we'll have those questions. And actually, you can go ahead. You'll see the other questions here. You can jump in. We're going to talk about some of those here in a moment. But you can answer questions 1 and 2 here with those, and we'll see those results in just a sec. So we've got about half respondents in for those first questions. So select if you've participated before, and then if you have the age group that best represents yourself. So we got most folks in at this time. Let's go ahead and share some results. Look at those on screen. All right. So we're looking at about 71% have participated in a virtual format before. And we've got a mix of ages from 25 up through 75 and higher. So great. We'll have that. And again, we'll revisit that in just a moment. So we're going to stop sharing here. Let's go on with the rest of the presentation here. I'll hand it back to Jeremy here for some frequently asked questions.
Yeah, thanks, Nick. So as we've gone out through this process and have been out speaking to the community, we've gotten a lot of questions. So here I'll just briefly go through the most common questions we get. And these are great overall framework questions for the project, and also kind of so we can all be on the same page starting off. As previously stated, there will be time at the end to ask additional questions that aren't mentioned here. So starting off, nice and simple, what is a park system master plan? It's a good question. Can be confusing. We've been asked this quite a bit. And we kind of touched on this a little earlier on the slide, but a park system master plan outlines the goals and vision of a community's parks, recreation, trails, and open spaces system while identifying how well it serves the community and ranks priorities for future improvements. So now that we know what it is, why does Colorado Springs need to update our plan? The city of Colorado Springs really has a great park system with a lot of moving parts. And we'll go through some of those specifics in a little bit. And we really have a great and experienced parks department staff that understands that to be truly successful, you need to look ahead and have a plan. Parks master plans need to be updated to ensure that the park system remains relevant, responsive, and resilient in the face of evolving community needs, environmental conditions, growth, and other changes. So really, the city is practicing really wise foresight in developing an updated plan that helps ensure future investments and improvements are made with community needs and continuity of services in mind. So how will community input be used in the planning process? Well, our team and park staff really do care and quite honestly need community input. Recommendations for this updated master plan will be guided and rooted by the input we gather and collect from you all, and as many other people that we can talk to through multiple opportunities and events that we've already been to and will continue to be at throughout the city. So how long will this take? This approximate process is about a year long. All spring, we've been digging deep into the existing conditions and collecting data, so we have a good benchmark to build from. And as you can see, we are currently in the spring, summer 2025. And so we're kind of at that number 2 mark right now, assessing the needs and priorities of the system. This is where a lot of community engagement comes in, as we want to know what you think. This is not the only time to be involved. There will be additional opportunities for you to be involved through the long range vision plan and the strategic plan through steps 3 and 4. Not only to give input, share concerns, and ask questions, but to be able to see where we're at and the progress that we've made. Our goal is to have this completed by the end of the year, presenting to the Parks Board and City Council, and finally get approval by spring of 2026. So what is the entire park system master plan? Now, I told you previously that City of Colorado Springs has a great system with a lot of moving parts. And as you can see here, we're very lucky to live here in the Springs with almost 19,000 acres of parkland, over 250 miles of trails, over 100 playgrounds. We have ball fields and sports courts, dog parks, aquatic opportunities, nature and community centers, as well as golf courses and even ice rinks. So it really is an amazing place to live with vast opportunities to be active and healthy. But our park system is more than just the physical components of land, playgrounds, and trails. It's also comprised of many recreational opportunities and programs for our residents and visitors.
Now, there's more to this than just those physical assets that we talked about. This is, again, extremely diverse park system, very large, and it represents a very large city. But we also go, again, much beyond this aspect in terms of how we create memories in these spaces, that we experience these spaces. These reflect really the reputation of Colorado Springs as an outdoor adventure recreation place, and it is really a destination. And many of these spaces, again, create those memorable events and memories for us. Now, last year alone, over 6.3 million people visited our recreation facilities. These are our visitor centers, our nature centers. These are these places that really are bringing folks, not just our own residents enjoying this, but visitors to the city enjoying these spaces. We also hosted over 663,000 people in our parks for special events. These are, again, bringing folks in all those events that we have, from Labor Day liftoff to Get Outdoors. These are great events that happen throughout the year in these spaces. Now, we also play a lot. And so in our parks, over 64,500 games were played by youth and adults over last year. And we offered over 10,000 programs across our parks and facilities. These are just incredible figures, but also this represents an incredible amount of opportunities to be outdoors, to recreate, to socialize, and enjoy spaces. But we're also busy improving the system. Last year alone, we upgraded over 26 playgrounds with new play equipment and/or improving surfacing for playgrounds. And we also installed over 660 new wayfinding posts and markers. So we're investing in many ways into the system on a regular basis, but it takes a lot to maintain this large system.
So let's talk about where we came from. Here's a fun fact. Colorado Springs first adopted a parks master plan in 1976. That was 50 years ago, and a lot has changed in the region and the city in 50 years. And what is absolutely commendable is that our city had a plan, a vision for this long, driving the direction of our parks, trails, and open space. So the latest plan was 2014, and that is the plan that we're updating now. Now that plan, it has 180 pages. It's still available. You can download it off the city website. If any of you want some fun reading this weekend, feel free. But for those of us who are going to be outside enjoying the parks instead of inside reading about them, I'll give you some cliff notes. So let's go over the top 7 core themes of 2014. And these are in no particular order or relevant. We kind of threw them up there to share. So, and you may want to listen carefully because I have a feeling a question's going to come up here soon. So really, the 7 themes is take care of what we have, diversify financial strategies, including new methods of funding, broaden and enhance and promote recreation opportunities. Number 4, continue open space conservation in advance of all the development that we're seeing. To build our community with the understanding that parks, open space, and trails, they create great neighborhoods. Manage parks for better usability and greater enjoyment. And finally, just enhance and formulate strong and broad partnerships. So those are the themes from the 2014 plan.
Now let's pause again here. Let's do a couple more questions. And so I'm going to launch one question here now. I'm going to go ahead and launch this one. Our question number 3 here. And so as Jeremy noted here, we've got a couple themes that came out of the 2014 plan. As Brent mentioned at the beginning, she references that plan quite a bit. But this is one that we would like to, again, as we talk about 2026 in the next 10 plus years, what is important from those things to you today? And you're allowed, this is the hard part, you're allowed one choice. So what is the most important of those themes for you this evening? I'll give you some time to read. We got, again, those 7 options, and some of them are a little bit long, but we'll give you some time to look through those. And again, if you'd like to, before you hit submit, if you want to adjust your answer, you can go ahead and pick a different one and then hit submit. I'll give folks just another 5 seconds here, make choices. All right. Let's go ahead and share results. All right, so we have a few that selected broaden, enhance, promotes recreation opportunities, continue open space conservation, in advance of development, and then build our community with the understanding that open space and trails create great neighborhoods, and enhance and formulate strong and broad partnerships, as well as take care of what we have. Okay, so let's do one more question here. We're going to go back and I'm going to launch a question that gets to a little bit different here. We're going to do a question about distance. We're hopeful that many of you have visited the parks as residents or users of the park system. So we're going to ask the question, how far do you typically travel to the park or trail you most frequently visit? And so you have a couple different distances here. We have in miles, as well as the amount of time that it may take to walk or bike ride those distances. Go ahead and look through those options and again, see which one reflects the distance or time that you typically travel to the park or trail you visit most frequently. All right. Give folks just another second here. And let's share results. All right. So we got a mix of folks that travel just a few minutes, and others that may go a little bit more time, a little more distance, upwards more than 1.5 miles. So you see a wide range of input here. And we'll dive into this just a little in a few more slides, but we'll show our online survey is up and going, and we've had a lot of responses on those. For this question, we have a similar one, and we are seeing concentrations of folks that are saying they prefer around the 1/4 mile, 5-minute kind of walk range, as well as the 1/2 mile, 10-minute walk. And then also we have more than 1.5 miles for some folks there too. So we'll have another question coming up, and I'll give a little more time on the next one here. And it's as we're building up the importance of those questions, this last one here is going to be an important one, and we'll take a little time. But let's get back to a few more interesting slides here. I'll hand it. I'll run with this one from here on, the public outreach here. So as we mentioned, we've had a number of different outreach events in the last month. June, we capped off the last week of June. We had 2 in-person sessions, one at Briargate YMCA and another at Southeast YMCA. We have our virtual session here tonight. And then we also will be and have been out and about in community events. We started in June. We have some here in July, and we will continue into the fall. Hopefully, we will see some of you out at some of these events too. And so if you see us out in the booth, make sure to stop on by. We usually have some candy or something fun as well with us. So come on by, and we'll keep you updated on the progress and with the project. We've also been conducting a series of focus groups and stakeholder interviews to cover and dive into a little bit more in depth in a few topic areas as part of this master planning process. And we've also been out and about on social media, really getting the word out. This has been a great means to get really the word of mouth about this master planning process. And this is one of the biggest things we ask you all here tonight. Help inform your neighbors, your friends, your coworkers, others that would be interested in being part of this process to get engaged with this. And we really ask you to help spread that word. Our online survey is up and going and will be live through August 3rd. We'll highlight that again in just a moment, as well as our project website, coloradosprings.gov/park system master plan. You can see a couple of images here of our in-person workshops that we had. Again, this is a few images from the Southeast YMCA here of our workshops, as well as some of our mapping input that we had. So really great input there. So let's see on a couple more, and we can get the project website here again. Just to plug this information, another QR code here you can scan with your phone, and it will take you to our project website that is being kept open throughout the project. And so this will be, again, updated throughout each stage of the project. This will be the depository of information on there. And so what you'll see on this page, just below the introduction, are a few tabs. And right there today is our online survey link. You can see it, it'll say, take the survey. You can click on that and that'll take you right to the survey. And just below that is a link to our interactive map. And so in the survey, it ends with the map. But if you would like to come back to the map, you can go to the project website and they'll have a link there as well. And any future public meetings and events that we have will also be advertised on this site as well. So bookmark it and come back and check it frequently for opportunities to stay engaged and updated on the project. Let's highlight the online survey here as one more item. So again, we launched this in early June. We've had nearly 600 responses so far. Great participation. This is going to be up through August 3rd. It takes about 10 minutes to go through and answer all the questions in there. It's available in English and Spanish. So you can certainly choose which that is best for you. And then again, it ends with an interactive map. And so on that map, and you'll see a screenshot there of the map, it's a portal where you can provide comments and ideas specific to parks, and you can even draw lines and routes for trails. And so you can provide as much input as you would like on that map. I think we've had well over 400, almost I think 500 plus ideas submitted in there already. So great input. And again, help us promote that. You can send those links around to folks that you know that would be interested in providing that information as well. So as I mentioned, we have had this up and going for a little while. And so we have seen some of the data coming in. And so we are watching it. And we wanted to show some preliminary results of what people are saying. And so I'll leave this up on the screen for a little bit. We wanted to summarize two questions that we have on the survey. The first one's on the left side, and we asked folks to identify their most important activities to their households and that they have a need for. And so we, again, have many different options, and there's write-in opportunities in the survey as well. But we captured what are the top 10 trending right now. And again, these are preliminary results. So if you see something that you would like to provide your input on that might be a little different than what we're seeing, jump online and do a survey. That would be great. On the first question here, again, is the most important activities. And so you can see it in descending order on the bar chart, the responses. And these are the percentages of respondents that have identified this as a need for their household. So walking and hiking and running are number one. That is 45% of our respondents have said that is a need they have as a household today. And it's not being met currently. So there's more need out there than what we have. Number two, biking. And this is on paved and hard trail surfaces. Number three is mountain biking, natural surface trails. Exercising outdoors, number four, with nearly 23% of households. Cultural activities is visiting museums, participating in events in our parks. As we noted earlier, over 660,000 folks have attended special events in our parks. So over 18%, so there's still a need for more of that. Adventure recreation, such as parkour, trail running, is number 6 here with 16%. Playing on playgrounds is number 7. Visiting, observing, and learning about wildlife is number 8 at 13.7% of households. Family-oriented events such as movie nights or festivals at 9.8% of households. And finally, rounding out that top 10 is number 10, camping, tent camping and primitive style camping at 9.6%. But let's shift over to the right side here. And we wanted, again, what are the top 10 trending in terms of the most important facilities and amenities that residents have a need for? And this is a little bit different in the results in that you'll see number 1 here is natural surface trails, but 57% of households say that is their top need that is not being met right now out there. And so it is quite the outlier, nearly double what any other results are. So very, very much in line. And you'll see similarities across these two questions in terms of activities and facilities. So again, walking, hiking, running, and biking, mountain biking, we're all top 3 on activities. We have natural surface trails as that number 1 facility. Paved hard surface trails at 28.4%. Now, this is typically something that we see as number 1 nationally paved trails. So the fact that we have natural surface trails as number 1 overwhelmingly is something unique about Colorado Springs. Restrooms, number 3 at 21.9% of households, saying that is their number 3 most needed facility in parks. Number 4, natural or wildlife areas. Number 5, bike park or pump track facilities at 12.3%. Playgrounds is number 6 at 11.7%. And typically on a national average, we see this at about 38%. So quite a bit lower than what we would see again on a national stage. Dog parks are next, off-leash fenced areas with 10.8%. And again, this is another area that is a little bit lower or significantly lower than national average at is typically 28%. Number 8 is indoor swimming pools at 9.8%. And actually the next 3 are all ties right now. And so at 9.8%, we have indoor swimming pools, lakes, fishing areas, and nature centers. But for pools specifically, that is a national average of about 37%. So again, much lower right now in terms of the online survey. So again, these are preliminary results. We're going to watch these for a while and see if you have agreement or disagreement with these results. Jump online, and we have quite a bit to go. And Haley was just pinged me, and on that online mapping, again, if you have specific ideas, add in those ideas where you might see some of these types of facilities needed. Add those on an individual park basis. Feel free. We have, Haley noted, we have over 512 comments right now on that map. So great. Let's keep adding to that. And one more survey preliminary results that we'll highlight here this evening, and then we'll get into some Q&A here. This is the top 8 results for reasons that prevent you from visiting parks or participating in recreation programs and events more often. These are more or less barriers within the community participating in visiting parks. And again, these are the trending top 8 here. Number 1, and again, this is a bit of an outlier, a little bit stronger than the other rankings here, but number 1 here is presence of those experiencing homelessness at 43%. So 43% of respondents have said that is one of their reasons that prevent them from visiting parks or participating in recreation more often. Number 2 is lack of restrooms at 29.8%. Number 3 is lack of parking at 25.7%. Now, again, this is something that is uniquely high here in Colorado Springs. Nationally, this averages about 7% in terms of lack of parking. So as we go about our public engagement, we will be, again, drilling down into these a little bit more in terms of what that means. Where is the lack of parking the biggest scenario or biggest barrier? And again, you can add those kind of comments into that interactive map to help us out. Number 4 is I do not know what is offered at 24.8%. This is typically about 33% nationally, and is usually the number 1 reason. So in this case, it is number 4 for us currently. Security is insufficient. Number 5 at 19.5%. Again, almost double the national average of 10% with this. So we definitely want to hear a little bit more about what areas might be specifically issues of security, what locations. Help us identify some of those concerns on that interactive map. Number 6 here, parks, trails, facilities are too far from residents, 15.3%. Parks and amenities not well maintained at 14.3% is number 7. And the last, rounding out the top 8 here, is lack of wayfinding, number 8. So we talked about a little bit earlier, last year alone, over 660 signposts and markers added along trails. It's a large system. And so continuously adding in more and more of that wayfinding components is an ongoing challenge and a big undertaking for the department. But again, those are just the trends that we see going on. And so continue to add your input into this process. We're going to launch our last question here. And I'm going to leave this up for a while. This is, again, a very important one for us. And it's going to ask here, which priority is the most important to you? And there are 3 priorities listed here. And I'm going to read through these different priorities. The first is taking care of existing park and recreation facilities and infrastructure. This is primarily minor repairs and mowing, those kind of daily maintenance aspects of the park is number 1. Number 2 is remodeling and improving park infrastructure. This is replacing playgrounds, repaving trails, refurbishing aquatic facilities, more major undertakings that may include expansion of facilities as part of that option. And number 3 here is keeping up with new growth. This is focused on adding new facilities, new parks, new trails, and new recreation and cultural programs. So those are your 3 options here. We're going to give folks a little bit more time. And you can read through those. And again, that's a hard decision. You're allowed one choice, one priority here. And you can change that choice. And again, if you would like, these mimic some of the questions that are on the online survey as well. We dive a little bit more in depth into these questions as well. So you can revisit this. All right, let's go ahead and look at the results. Perfect. So we have choices, responses across all 3 categories, but over about 44% selected number 2, remodeling and improving park infrastructure. So these are the more major undertakings in terms of replacing or refurbishing of facilities. Number 2 is at 31% is keeping up with new growth. So adding new parks, adding new facilities and trails. And then number 3 at 25% is taking care of the existing parks, those more daily and minor repairs and maintenance aspects. All right. Well, thank you all for that input here. We're going to jump back to the presentation and wrap this up and go to some Q&A here. So the last item is, again, participate today. The online survey is available. We have about 25 plus questions on there. Again, it takes about 10 minutes, but it's very, very valuable information from you all. You can access that through the project website. Again, you can scan the QR code on the screen. That will take you to all the information in regards to the project, including the online survey and that interactive map where you can provide more information there. With that, I'd like to pass it over to Jeremy here for the Q&A, and we're going to dive into some of the chat here to see the questions. We're going to take just a little review here and see which questions are in regards to, again, we're going to prioritize questions in regards to the park system master plan. Let's see here. And I'm going to, as we go through the Q&A, I'm going to flip up that screen again. If you have other questions or other input, again, you can access the city's online portal for any general issues, complaints, concerns. You can go Colorado Springs, or then on the right side, if you would like to access that online map, you can jump on that as well. Let's see here. All right, as we're looking through, let's see if there's any other questions. We got first question I'm seeing from Donna. We have two questions. Do you believe that carrying capacity studies and the actions which those studies indicate should be done are critical to the protection and preservation of our parks and open spaces? So a little bit of that is we do have, as part of this park system master plan, we are reviewing guiding documents, and that consists of other master plans for individual sites, some of our open spaces. We've had many plans have been completed, and those are being reviewed. As far as carrying capacity studies, those can be a valuable part to some of our outdoor, particularly natural resource-based spaces. And so that will be certainly part of the input we're asking really at this point. Questions of you all. Do you believe that those should be an important part to any kind of recommendations going forward for some of those spaces? And so we're really listening to you all and your input and asking for your thoughts on those ideas right now in terms of what you find it as most important to our open spaces and parks. The second question here, will a program of carrying capacity studies not on every park and open space, but on a reasonable number of our most heavily used in both categories be part of this master plan? So not as an undertaking specifically of this master plan, that is more done on in perhaps a individual site and its needs. And so that would be something that is typically handled on an individual site master plan level for consideration. Let's continue to scan some questions. And again, we're going to prioritize some of the time and questions that we have here for the park system master plan. So if I don't get to your question just yet, we may run out of time, but again, we're going to prioritize those on the master plan. You can, again, go to those other resources and add in additional comments and questions. Question in regards to which organizations or interest groups are you planning to include as stakeholders? And so these groups will be, many have already been interviewed in terms of stakeholders and focus groups. The focus groups had various topics that were given to them in terms of community athletics, outdoor recreation, safety in parks. And so we had over 10 different focus groups alone, and stakeholders were, again, partners, many existing partners of the parks system as well. And these really helped us allow to really drill down in a few more topics. Summaries of inputs will be included. Those themes that come out of those interviews will be shared as part of the public involvement summaries. So we'll be summarizing that input and the topics of those as part of this effort. All right. Let's see, scan. I'll open up if Haley and Jeremy, if you see any other questions popping up at this time with the park system master plan. From Emily here, we've got, how can the plan address collaboration with the wide variety of community groups, nonprofits, and other orgs, and incorporate that into the function of the department? Great question. These are, again, many different ways in terms of how the collaboration across the community groups, nonprofits, other organizations. Again, many have been already engaged in this process with those focus groups, interviews, and we've seen many represented at the in-person public events as well. We are asking across all these different events for folks that represent the groups, as well as the members, to participate in this process and provide additional input and input into ideas that can increase collaboration with the department. So that will be part of this initial wave that we are launching across the summer months here, as well as Jeremy highlighted with our project schedule. We have other workshops coming up in fall that will be a great opportunity. And so all that information will be again on the project website for more sharing. And Haley just added again just the comment or the link into the chat for that online map as well.
Yes, yeah, I saw a few location specific or amenity specific comments, and those are even some of these like questions about additional plans are great comments to include on the location, the map.
All right. A question: please clearly define stakeholders. So stakeholders for the purpose of this master plan are those that have an effective role in helping really facilitate this process, to have involvement and input into this process. Many are, again, active partners or collaborators with the department today. We have many that are also sort of pulling double duty in terms of stakeholders as well as focus group participants, again, representing some of those topics in those focus groups, such as safety in parks or outdoor recreation. So lots of great input through that process to date. All right. And I think we've got most of those questions in regards to the park system master plan. Again, if I didn't quite touch on the individual park questions, those are going to be, again, best handled through the online maps or general questions in regards to the Go Colorado Springs portal in here. I think we had one more in terms of the question in regards to benchmarking. We've got that's on the carrying capacity. And any other questions you see with park system?
I think there's some questions I would say that are asking about review of not only the built facilities, but also it seems like communication with residents, if that's something that's reviewed as part of the plan. So department approaches decision-making, ongoing maintenance, like day-to-day function, communications alongside with the community in future years. So I guess stakeholders for the project, but then also relationship with stakeholders. I think some earlier mentioned were county, CSU, Forest Service. How that is reviewed as part of this plan. Let me see. Yeah, or if that is reviewed as part of this plan, I think is maybe the overarching question.
Yeah, and I think that's again, yeah, part of this guiding document. So any plans that we can really put our hands on that have already been developed with community input or are guiding some aspect of the what the Parks Department manages or provides, we are folding into that those reviews. We want to make sure this plan, this master plan, continues to build off the vision that many of you have all participated in helping define for the city. And so we want to make sure that is a building block base that we work with for this master plan. All right, any other questions here? Scan in. All right. So we are, again, really hoping that as part of this process, can you help us spread the word about the online survey and the information that's available on the project website. As Jeremy noted, with those schedules, we are in that early stage of this master planning process. There's going to be more opportunities coming up. Make sure you bookmark the project website, and come back to it frequently. Updates in regards to upcoming events and opportunities to again participate will be posted on there as those locations and dates are set. We will also be sharing information as part of the first two steps, our needs assessment process. We'll be providing a summary of that online for review, as well as our next round of visioning workshops this fall. We will start those workshops. Those are going to be in-person opportunities where we will then begin with an overview of what this summer really identified as the community's needs and priorities when it comes to parks and recreation and trails and open spaces. So we'll be summarizing that information as part of those workshops. And then as we have the draft park system master plan further developed late this year and early next year, we will also be again engaging the community to help review that and make sure that this master plan again is reflection of the community's input. And we really hope you all continue to be engaged in this process to date and through the next several months. And I think I see a question: do we get a voucher for free donuts? I wish. I agree. Thank you so much again for your all's input through this. Again, in the chat, if you'd like to again see any of the other links to the project website, the online maps, those are in there. Haley has posted those links again, and you can certainly feel free to copy and paste those links around on your social media posts, send those out to your neighborhood groups. Spread the word about this opportunity.
And prior to closing, just wanted to thank everybody for joining us tonight. Apologies if some of those polls ended earlier, if there were technical difficulties. Encourage you to jump on this, the project survey, the online survey. Yep. All these questions and much more, go much more in depth, and we would love for you to share your thoughts there. And it's certainly another way if you had a hard time reaching all questions tonight. So,
all right. Well, hang on for just a couple more minutes here. If there's any other last questions you want to pop in the chat. Again, thank you all so much for all your input here.
All right. Well, thank you everybody again. We hope we see you out and about at the parks and in different pop-up events. If you see us, please come chat and jump on, put all your comments on the interactive map. So thanks, and have a wonderful evening.
Thank you all.